Hey everybody, it's Friday, October 31st. Let's talk PlayStation. So let's start off with some not so good news. Right off the bat, PlayStation Network was down when firmware 2.0 for PS4 came out just this past week. It was down, a lot of users could not connect, and at least for me, I had problems with the standby mode on PS4. My PS4 was constantly blinking the amber sort of yellow light on the system, and I could not turn the system on, thus having to do a hard unplug of it and plugging it back in, and the PS4 goes like, oh, well, you turned me off properly, and it's like, well, I couldn't turn you on. And it seems like that was a problem for many people as well. So just another one of those things where, a new major firmware update comes out for Sony, and obviously there's a problem with it. Granted, it's not a huge issue, but I have been saying to you guys, it's getting a little, at least in my opinion, a little ridiculous with PSN being down as frequently as it has been, especially since we're all paying for PlayStation Plus on PS4. So just one of those things where, I want to keep making it, being pretty vocal about it. It sucks that it keeps happening. I really wish there was less of it. And in more not so great news, the PlayStation Plus edition for Driveclub has been postponed kind of indefinitely. We don't know when it's going to be ready at this point. Shuhei Yoshida has finally Sony's Shuhei Yoshida has finally commented on the subject, saying that they are not going to release the PlayStation Plus version of that game until the main game is fully playable, and the online servers are perfect and everyone can connect to the game and enjoy all the social features of the game. This is again a total bummer. Like I mentioned, last week or 2 weeks ago, I mean, this whole thing's kind of been a disaster. It's not good PR for Sony. You go to IGN or GameSpot or wherever and see all these news articles about Driveclub being postponed, and it's just not good press for Sony. And when you see this stuff happening over and over and over again, you see a lot of potential consumers seeing these news stories and thinking to themselves like, oh, maybe I shouldn't get a PS4. It's just something Sony needs to really step their game up on. So this next news story I found rather interesting. The upcoming game Dying Light has just recently been canceled for PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360. The game is cited to come out very soon on PS4, X1, and PC, but the PS3 360 versions have been canceled. Now the developer has recently said why, which is basically the developer would have to make too many compromises in the PS3 and 360 versions to the point where the game wouldn't be what their vision for the game is. So they would have to take too much stuff out of the game to get those games running perfectly on those platforms, and they just decided, let's just not do it in total. And this is an interesting news story because this is that transition we're talking about. We do have new platforms now. They're much more powerful than the previous generation. So we're seeing a lot of developers just make straight up PS3, PS4, X1 games. And if they're trying to do multi-platform, sometimes it gets to a point where you have to make too many compromises, and you have to just cut off the old generation. Now, I think it's certainly possible that the developer is maybe just, they could be like, giving people one of those, PR statements like, oh, it's not going to hold to our vision, but realistically, maybe the developer just didn't have enough resources to finish those versions. Maybe there were too many problems with those versions. Maybe they just didn't have enough people working on them. Maybe there were too many bugs and they didn't want to, test them or what have you. There could be a number of reasons why they're not coming out, but that is what the developer is saying, and, it's believable because that is the case. They're underpowered machines at this point because we got a new generation, and that brings along a new standard of development. So this next news story is pretty good news for some fighting game fans. So Skullgirls Encore, a game on PlayStation 4 coming very soon, just recently has been announced that it's going to have fighting stick support. The good news is that it has support for old PlayStation 3 fighting sticks. Now, we all know a long time ago when PS4 was doing, pre-release stuff and all that press news was coming out about PS4, we were all pretty disappointed to hear that we couldn't use PlayStation 3 racing wheels and PlayStation 3 fight sticks. Now, the reason why Skullgirls Encore is going to support PlayStation 3 fight sticks is because a Naughty Dog developer has actually programmed a driver for the game that is going to be programmed into the main game, and this driver is going to be able to read old PlayStation 3 fight sticks, so it's going to work. Now, this is a driver-specific thing. Driver is in sort of, that's programming code that's specific to just Skullgirls Encore, but the good news is that the developers of Skullgirls Encore is going to be sharing this code with many developers. So if future fighting games are going to come out and they get this code, they can allow the fight sticks of old PS3 games. So that's actually really awesome, especially since, Sony initially said, like, oh, we can't support these old peripherals because there's not, it was like a security issue or something for them, which, is kind of, it's bogus. We want to not have to pay an extra how many hundreds of dollars to get new plastic peripherals for the new console. So great stuff there. Hopefully that'll become a more widespread thing for fighting games, and maybe there will be an option soon for racing games with racing wheels. So earlier we were talking about PS4 firmware 2.0. One thing that a lot of people are wondering is, where is PS4, the feature for suspend and resume? Now, this was a promised feature a while ago. People are wondering where it is. Sony has responded to this recently, saying it's still coming, it's still being worked on, it's still in the pipeline. Don't worry about it. Now, a lot of people still don't know what this feature is. Suspend/resume is when basically you can turn your PS4 off, during a game, and not have to like do some sort of save or auto save or quit the game and make sure it's saved properly. You can just turn your system off, and then when you turn the system back on, you're literally right back at that specific save point. Like, it's not even a save point. It's just the game is suspended at that specific moment. You turn your PS4 back on, it's back at that moment. A lot of people want this feature. Sony's saying it's still coming. So another thing that's kind of going around regarding PS4 firmware 2.0, one thing was that on the PlayStation blog, Sony posted a post telling you, like, hey, here's how you use like YouTube uploading on PS4. And the funny thing is, they used this picture, which kind of shows a screenshot of PS4 uploading to PS4 using the upload feature. What's interesting, of course, is that it clearly shows that it says Uncharted 3 as like the title name, and then the picture is a picture of Uncharted 2. So a lot of people are thinking like, whoa, does this mean that there is an Uncharted HD collection coming to PlayStation 4? Now, I'm going to tell you right off the bat, to me this seems like a mistake, especially, and the reason why I feel like it's a pretty obvious mistake is because they're using a picture of Uncharted 2 clearly in that snapshot, and the text says Uncharted 3. I feel like they were just using a random PlayStation exclusive game, just sort of a standard fudge up from somebody that maybe isn't completely familiar with the PlayStation ecosystem and what games belong where or something. It just seems like a mistake to me, although I mean, an Uncharted HD collection on an Uncharted resolution and frame rate bump on PS4 collection thingy majigger seems like a good idea to me. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if it happened, but this particular image and thing that is going around, I'm going to say this is just a mistake. So just last week I talked about San Andreas HD, that the possibility of it coming to PlayStation 3 since it recently released on Xbox 360. Well, it looks like we got some more shedded light on that sort of scenario in the form of a GTA collection. So Take-Two recently had an earnings call discussing a few things, like how many copies of GTA 5 they've sold, which is like 34 million copies, which easily puts it as one of the best-selling games of all time. So that's damn impressive, 34 million copies. But one thing during the earnings call that was said is that a remastering and collection for some of their franchises is not out of the possibility. Like, that's something that they totally look at and they would consider, which is awesome news, because I think you can tell by the last video that I really, really want San Andreas HD on PS3. I really want trophies for that game. I've always wanted a GTA collection. I've always wanted Vice City 3 and San Andreas on like one Blu-ray with trophies and bumped up frame rate and resolution. I would love that, dude. I want that so bad. And the damn thing is, I'm shocked, literally shocked, that hasn't happened during the PS3 or 360 life cycle, where HD collections were really prevalent. Like, there were tons of HD collections on PS3 and 360. And if you don't remember, that was a trend that Sony started. Sony started that trend with God of War 1 and 2 HD collection. They announced that during some E3, I forget which year, 2009 or 2010 or something. I think it was 2009. Or 2008, but they announced that, and people were like so pumped, like, that's so awesome, like God of War 1 and 2 HD gets trophy support on one Blu-ray disc. That is so cool. And Sony did more collections, and it just became a thing with third-party developers, and then now Microsoft's doing it. I mean, Nintendo's doing it. Like, it became a totally like big thing that Sony started, and once that became like a trend, I'm buying all these HD collections. I'm enjoying the Jack collection in HD, and I'm thinking to myself, like, because I'm a huge Grand Theft Auto fan, I'm like, oh my god, please make a GTA collection, and it never came. But they'll release the damn games on iPhone and Android, which does make sense as a business move, because it's mobile. There's how many millions of smartphones? It's a bigger market than consoles, so it makes sense there. But like, why didn't you do a collection on consoles? So it's nice to at least hear them say like it's possible. Just please make it a reality, Rockstar. I'm begging you. And I think a lot of people would love to play like Vice City HD. A lot of people love Vice City. I love all three of them. Although I do prefer San Andreas, I'll come out and say that. Anyway, that concludes this week's episode of Let's Talk PlayStation. If you have not seen it already, a new episode of Ryan on Gaming. Sunset Overdrive, why is it exclusive to Xbox One? Will it ever possibly come over to PS4? Check out that video to see my sort of discussion topic on that, because somebody actually asked me that question, and it was a good topic. So remember, if you have a good Ryan on Gaming topic, please submit it in the comments or send me a PSN message. Do whatever you feel is necessary. Next week, I will be showing you that Naughty Dog book. I recorded some videos, so I'm going to edit it over the weekend. Hopefully I'll be having it up and uploaded by Wednesday, so you'll be able to check out that cool book with all the cool art. Other than that, that's about it. So I will. How does my outro go? I'm Ryan Benecki. Thank you so much for talking with me, and I'll see you guys all next Friday.